And these boxes hold a life. Cardboard boxes hold a life. And they're bursting at the seams, spilling everything, dropping all our dreams on the floor. Hi, my name is Lo. I'm 29. I'm a longtime writer, but new to sharing my music, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself today.
Awesome.
There, and I didn't mess up the mic this time.
Hell yeah. Lo, I met you somewhere really cool, and you mentioned that you just started sharing your music.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about where you've started sharing your music?
Sure. So it's a place called The Depot in Baltimore. On Tuesday nights, they have an open mic that starts around 7:30, or normally people are scrambling to get on the sign-up list around that time. Yeah, so it starts around 7:30 on Tuesdays. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Recently, the last 6 months, I've been really focused on what I ended up calling the mom songs, and it kind of just came out like it was kind of a joke at first, but that really is what I'm going to call it. There's songs about my mom who passed away 6 months ago this month.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the song that we were recording today?
Sure. So the song we're recorded today, is called Empty Halls. And the song is incredibly literal. It's about having to go through the house and empty things out and, boxing up all these different memories and just a lot of reflection, a lot of it's very surreal. It's kind of a, is this really happening kind of moment. So kind of reflecting on that and dealing with that.
Was it inspired by a specific experience that you had?
Yes. So my brother and I have been having to clean out our mom's house, and I mean every part of the song is a literal specific experience through that. So the first part of the song, this boxes hold our life and they're bursting at the seams, spilling everything on the floor, was from literally carrying so many boxes of things and eventually one of the boxes splitting open and it just being a moment of, oh man, such a small thing, like a box breaking open, but it's when everything else is so hard, it just is come on, give me a little break. And then other moments when actually the whole house is cleared out, just walking through and literally it's all empty, the actual empty halls, and the way that the house, literally the echoes that you didn't hear before because it was full of stuff and full of people and stuff.
So yeah, what is your background in writing, and what got you into doing music or poetry and stuff?
So I've always been very musical and literary since I was a kid. Was a thirsty ass reader. Would just go through as many things as I could get my hand on. Sometimes 5 books a day because I also didn't sleep. And as far as reading lends to writing and lends to expression. It gives you lets you kind of access the world in different ways, or ways that maybe get access that you wouldn't have had before, but also expands your vocabulary and developed a love of words, honestly, and a love of language and communication. But then with that, growing up kind of a lot of people probably kind of a lonely kid, writing was that form of that way of expressing things, of just trying to get things out when there's no other way to get things out or deal with things. So that just naturally became, for me, just naturally turned into creativity. But yeah, from a young age, was also involved in music as far as choirs, first in church and then also in school. And then didn't just messing around things with, had a lot of musician friends who I had the vocals, they had the instruments, and we just play around. But nothing that I ever took too seriously.
Yes.
It was more the choirs I was in, the groups I was in. I was doing it because it was fun, but not because I wanted to be a singer per se. Which we've talked before about for some people, they can do something they love full time or like as a job and not lose that passion for it. But for me, it was like, I'm just trying to have a good time, y'all. Like,
Do you still kind of feel like writing is just like fun for you, or does it feel like therapeutic at all, or like what are your emotions towards what you're writing right now?
I wish I could say writing was fun.
Yeah.
It's not for me. It's not fun. It's a necessity. It's a requirement. It's like you have to do this thing or explode. Like, what else is there to do? So it's not a compulsion. It's not something I'm forced to do, but it's like a lack of options. It's something that gives relief where few other things give relief. So the writing and the singing both are part of that, like releasing energy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there's fun in it, but the purpose is more so therapy. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you feel the same way about like performing and recording it, or does that feel a little different at all?
So the recording part is actually really fun. Like that, what we've been doing today,
Yeah.
kind of going off each other and also hearing the ideas that you have from hearing my ideas, and again building off each other. That actually was a lot of fun. Like I had a lot of fun here today. But
yeah.
in terms of this in the singing, I'm starting to enjoy it as I'm starting to feel more comfortable with doing it. But most of the time, I still am making myself cry. Like the second time that I performed this song, Empty Halls, I at the start I was like, "All right, sorry y'all, it's about to get a little sad," like kind of jokingly, like in case I did make anybody sad, which I totally thought like I'm gonna make y'all sad, and then at the end, I was like having a hard time getting through the last verse, and at the end like I was crying, and it was kind of embarrassing, and kind of like brought, or at least feel like regained my control over the situation by making more jokes like, oh shit y'all, I thought I was gonna make you sad, but I made me sad instead. Like,
Right.
let's just keep going.
Yeah, I remember hearing that. Yeah, performing it can be pretty emotionally intense sometimes, for sure. Do you think that you always kind of write about like heavier themes or experiences, or do you ever want to like write about other subjects or explore other emotions like in the future?
So in terms of my poetry, I do have I wouldn't say a huge amount, but there's a considerable amount that is positive or is like romantic, whether it's with the lowercase or the capital R, like romantic, like about love, or romantic about like nature and life and like experience. But in terms of my music so far, I don't have anything like that. So I've noticed it's a lot easier for me to write when I'm bursting at the seams, right when I'm just doing it as a way of doing it for therapy. That's where when I go back and look over it again, I'm like, damn, that's fucking good.
Hell yeah.
This the happy stuff doesn't quite have the same, doesn't have quite the same for me.
Doesn't feel quite as real, or
It feels a little more forced. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And the thing is also, for me, and I think for a lot of people, it's easier to focus on the bad stuff sometimes. So like, it's harder to remember the good stuff. So for me, when things are good, I'm not like, oh, I just need to write this down, I'm gonna explode. It's like, oh, I just want to savor this and sit in it.
Okay.
So it takes a little more work for me to reflect on that because I'm just so focused on savoring it. Like,
Gotcha.
but sorry, I kind of got a little off track
No,
there.
you're good. Yeah, I think what I felt is for me, part of savoring it is like writing it down and stuff,
Yeah.
because I have some songs that I was pretty happy when I made them, and when I go back, it really takes me back. And then when I listen to some of the sadder stuff I wrote, it's like, oh, life really sucked back then. Like, holy shit, how did I make it through that shit? But
And that makes sense. That makes sense to me. And as I was describing how it is for me, I was thinking, and this probably sounds like opposite of what it would be, of what would be more logical. But for me, with happy stuff, it's like when I when I wrote it and it's happy, and then later something has kind of taken away from that. So it's like looking back on it, looking back on the happy stuff is more like, oh, that was nice.
Yeah.
But now it's not.
Yeah. What What? That's the question. What?
What
Why?
the
Why is Lo? Oh yeah.
why is Lo?
Where does your artist name of Lo come from?
So Lo, Lo apostrophe. Lo is a nickname that my mom gave me. My name is actually Laurel, not Laura, not Lauren, Laurel. But my mom has always called me Lo. It's basically a nickname that she heard one of our other relatives, like not really in the family, but like married in, one of like their relatives called their daughter Laura Lo. And honestly, she just liked it and wanted to steal it,
Nice.
is the way she would tell it. But yeah, it's a lifelong nickname. And honestly, as a non binary person, I've noticed that it helps people remember better that them's a they, them, you know?
Yeah.
I have no issue with Laurel. I love it because my mom gave it to me, but it's distinctly a little more on the feminine side. Whereas Lo, people tend to just, without me even saying anything, oh, yeah, of course.
Nice. How did you when your mother was still around? Did you ever like share the stuff that you wrote with her?
Yeah, not I mean this obviously not this stuff because I didn't
Yeah.
she was alive.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's not funny, but
Sometimes morbid humor can kind of help mask some.
oh
of the,
god, that's all I do is morbid humor to mask the pain.
Hey mom, I'm gonna memorialize you like really well. So
Yeah, I'd shared some things with her. Like there was a song that I think you've heard that we didn't get into today. Oh shoot, sorry. There's a song that I think you've heard that we didn't get into today. It's called Heart Speak, and I had shared that with her. And what that was all related to, and yeah, I've shared some things with her before, but obviously not the mom songs.
Right. With the stuff that you did share with her, like how did she respond? Was she really supportive of your creative outlets? Was she like a really big, like trying to get you to refine it or something? Like what kind of role did she play?
Supportive in terms of like just like wow, that's awesome, and not generic, but just very like excited for me and proud of me. Not She was very sick, either very busy or sick or busy and sick like for a long time, so it wasn't something that she was able to like be like, yeah, I want to like come out and see it, or but I would share stuff with her. And the last couple of years we weren't like geographically close, so a lot of like FaceTime and stuff, and just her our relationship got a lot better and a lot like ironically a lot healthier as she got sicker. So yeah, just very like kind of reminding me to stop questioning myself so much, which of course I'm gonna do anyway, but yeah, just very like definitely saw everybody's mom, or most people's moms kind of see them as more than they are necessarily, or more than you might feel like you are, but just like very much didn't understand why I hold myself back the way I do. And I can't say that I do either, but I'm gonna stop there. I'm rambling.
No, you're good. I would like to think that your parents can see like the best version of you. It's not necessarily better than you are, but like they see everything that you can be in like the best possible light, right? Because they know you so well, and good parents want the best for you, right? They want you to be happy and find your place in the world. So this is a question that I have, and if it's too personal, we can totally skip it. But I was kind of wondering, like, do you believe in any kind of like afterlife, or are you like a spiritual person at all?
I'm a little jaded, to be honest. I used to be a spiritual person. I'm kind of just tired now, but no, I if anything makes sense, like maybe not mathematically, but scientifically speaking, in terms of physics, energy, right? Neither created nor destroyed, so it just transfers somewhere. And that's, I think, the thing that makes the most sense, that would make the most sense about life. that it not that I don't believe in heaven and like streets paved with gold and or a place where your greatest hits are played out per se, but some other place or some other form, like reincarnation makes the most sense to me out of everything that I've looked into over the years. I would never claim to know or be certain of anything. I think that it's the most ignorant thing that any human can do is claim to know something, even themselves.
Yeah.
But no, I for various reasons, dreams, psychedelic dreams,
Hell yeah.
research into various world religions that have existed over the span of human history. Reincarnation makes the most sense. If I had to put like a word to it, one thing, like whether or not that's another life or the same life over or some other existence, maybe not like in a form that we perceive or form that we know. I'm certain of nothing, but open to most.
Hell yeah. That's
Thanks.
definitely good.
I realized that I talk to her too much still to not believe in something.
Hell yeah. Do you what do you think, if she were like literally reincarnated, or if you were literally reincarnated, like what kind of form do you think you guys would take?
Honestly, I wouldn't even know like where to start because that's I know nothing. I am Jon Snow. I know nothing. I think not a human. Not necessarily an animal either, but sorry, it sounds silly. But like light, like or like warmth or like even elements. I don't know how this works. I don't know how it works, man. like
Yeah.
we're getting off topic here. No,
But no, I definitely think that is a very beautiful idea. I've always loved the idea that, we're created from the same stuff as stars, and like that connects to like the light and the warmth that a person can feel, especially in this cold weather.
well, and then also the idea with reincarnation is like time doesn't exist, right? It's just our perception or our measurement of things. So you could be reincarnated to the past or to like the life that you live right now is just a shell that you temporarily step into and then you step out of it. At least with that line of thinking.
Oh yeah, I watched a really cool video recently about, does the past still exist? And they dove into this thought experiment that Einstein did, and like thinking like a physicist, the future does not necessarily exist at the same time that we perceive, that at the same moment of existence that we are in, but the past, depending on like your point in universe and like the speed that you're going, literally exists, right? Like kind of like how all the stars we're seeing are dead stars, right?
Yeah.
To us, they're there, like they exist, because our point of reference is different, but equally valid to the point of reference of if you actually went there at this moment, they're gone.
Yeah.
So I kind of, I don't know how to fully feel about it, but the idea that like from a certain point in time, right? Like, so you go somewhere else in the universe and you look at the planet, like you can just go back and watch yourself, and all those beautiful moments are still there.
Yeah, it's basically what I was gonna say. Sorry. That's what it's both a pro. I was gonna say blessing and a curse, but I don't like that language necessarily. But pro con seems so like clinical. It's a benefit and a drawback. It's an advantage and a disadvantage, because like they're always there, but just like out of reach.
Yeah.
That sorry. The wording that has come to me multiple times is like paper thin boundary between like skin and soul,
Yeah.
But yeah, damn good questions.
Yeah, well, it takes a lot to be willing to talk about that stuff, because it's very sensitive, it's very raw right now.
Well, and also not all tears are bad. It's just very raw, exactly. And you think like the more you talk about it, the easier that it gets. And I guess kind of, but also not at all.
Yeah.
Especially the more I've been sharing about what I'm going through, the more other people are coming to me like, thank you for sharing this and like relating what they're going through. But it also, this is why I don't do group therapy because I can't not take on.
Yeah.
But it's better than not. It's better than not sharing.
It's good to let yourself feel. You know, it's never bad to feel.
Oh, bottling is where we get into dangerous territory.
Yeah. That's when you explode.
So we get into bottle territory.
There you go. Earlier,
Excuse me.
No, you're good. You mentioned the idea of like knowing yourself. Do you feel like you have a pretty good grasp on like who you are, or do you feel like you're constantly confronted with like new aspects of yourself?
It's funny because I feel like I know myself more than some other people that I've interacted with, or I'd rather I've realized, or I'm constantly told by others, wow, you really know who you are. And I admire that and I'm jealous of that and this and that. But it's so funny to me because at the same time, at least 2 or 3 times a week, I have like a complete existential screaming in the dark, literally screaming in the dark breakdown. Like, who the fuck am I? What is this? Like, so I know what I don't stand for. I know what I don't fuck with. I know what's a hell of a fuck no.
Yeah.
And I know that as a person, I've spent too much of my life like being afraid of being willing to try to figure out who I am and what I like. So it's a lot of like, the word metamorphosis seems a little dramatic, but metamorphosis, transition. Like I think I said to you before, my mom just passed, and I hate that term passed. My mom just died.
Yeah.
5-year relationship over, turning 30, like friends and family and everything is just shifting and changing. And so it's a lot of, it's weird as things have become so different. I'm finding out who I am. And it sucks that it's at 30, but also at realizing like, there's no like, okay, I'm done. Like, you fucking think you end the level and then it's like, okay, next level. And you're like, shit, really? Another one? Another one? But tells you how many side scroller games I played back in the day.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it just kind of keeps on going and going.
Yeah.
Sure.
Which is like kind of cool, but also like, god damn, I'm tired.
Do you feel there's any kind of like core values or tenets that you hold to, or like like an aspect of yourself that you really try to honor?
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
One thing I've
Don't lie.
I was like, what? One thing I have found myself saying to people lately, basically people who are used to being lied to, or maybe are used to being dishonest, so they don't trust people because they are dishonest, is especially with men, they'd be like, don't lie to me about this or that or the other. And I'm like, why would I, like, why would I lie? Lying takes so much, first of all, it takes so much more effort than telling the truth. But also you have to like fear or owe something to someone to like, oh no, like I can't tell you this. And I'm just at this point like, not fuck people, but also like, if it's not for you, it's not for you. And also respecting that. Like, so I would not say I'd never lie, but I go out of my way to be honest at all times, not in a, I'm just being honest when people are being like cruel or mean, but to be tactful and respectful and direct and clear, because things are confusing and hard enough at all, and as it is. And the thing that I've been saying to people is like, man, the world's on fire. We live on a rock hurtling through the universe. Just a universe. There's more. Lying doesn't become us. Yeah. And I'm sorry, I'm getting away from what I was trying to actually say, which is, the thing that I actually say is, so all this craziness, our word is the only thing we have. And if you don't have that, you really have nothing. Your integrity is the only thing that you actually have.
For sure.
Like, So not to make it out to be like, oh, I'm such a great person. No, I great at best, but I try.
Right. Yeah, I'm a great person minus all the bodies in the backyard. Yeah.
Ooh, so I am at
Hell yeah.
no, but
I'll be sure to add like a censor over that, like.
please do. And now I'm imagining me like coming for the camera, like wait.
Yeah. I'll just keep adding censorings, like and like whatever you're saying to make it sound like really terrible. Just like out of context. Just like
Yeah.
I'm beep and beep.
They're going to bleep.
Yeah. So, that really resonates with me, and something that I think is really important is for people to try to live as their authentic selves, and that means being honest to yourself and the world. And like people definitely have a right to privacy, and especially when it comes to like a man being like, "Don't lie to me." I think some of it is like, well, it's not necessarily lying, but like not everybody. No, you don't owe anybody like every little detail about who you are and how you feel, and like a lot of people can't handle like every aspect of who you are and how
You don't have to explain yourself, and sometimes it's not safe to.
Yeah, especially with like if it's like a man who feels like possessive of you, if you're feeling like
And that's what I'm
maybe
talking about
a
too.
disconnect
Yeah.
from the relationship, or you're not feeling the exact same way they are, like it can be like a risk to be that honest with somebody, you know. So it's sometimes it's in your self-interest to withhold certain parts of your experience because it's yours, you know. Not everybody needs to know it.
Yeah, not everybody needs access.
Yeah.
Not everybody deserves it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not a matter of deserve or a matter of like what you need or want to share.
Yeah. How so? Like as like a non-binary person, like how do you feel about like sexuality? Is there like a label that you would use for yourself?
Fuck boy.
Hell yeah.
This is my Disney villain laugh. No, so I mean, I guess if I really had to pick one, and I don't actually like picking one, but pansexual would be the most like technically accurate because all y'all can get it. Everybody's at risk is the thing. It's about vibes first and foremost.
Yeah.
And not to say that there's no such thing as physical attraction for me, like there is, but it's not like a type. And it's usually based off of interaction. So as far as gender goes, like my gender, I am neutral. Like who I am interested in, I wouldn't say it's neutral in that it's not there, but it's like expansive.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, definitely. I was just curious to hear because like I feel like every kind of non-binary person would have like a little bit of. I mean, everybody has a different experience with their sexuality and how they feel about certain labels and stuff. So I was just curious what yours is like.
For me, I would not say bisexual because even though I recognize that a lot of people use that term to mean like to be all inclusive,
Yeah.
bi means two. It's honestly kind of like triggering as like to be caught up in binary again. Like, and I don't even like using that word too much, but like at the best case scenario, it makes me anxious as hell. So yeah, pan would be closest in terms of being all inclusive, like men, women, and everybody else. But I also like queer, and I also like just not saying anything and letting people find out for themselves.
Oh yeah, nice. They're like they think like, oh maybe this person's into me, and then it's like you're punching them in the face.
Because people
like,
think
I guess not.
People think whatever they want to think anyway, and most of the time, I'm also autistic.
Yeah.
And sorry, I say it like that because I'm getting used to like sharing that, but I share that to say I don't read situations very easily. So every single time in my life that someone has been interested in me romantically, sexually, or otherwise, or both, I had no idea. Even if I had a crush on them, I assume without consciously meaning to, I just assume neutral or negative interest. And it's not like, oh, they think I'm ugly. It's like, it just doesn't even enter into my mind that somebody might be thinking of me. So I think that I wonder if that's part of it, because for me, it's like about the connection, even if it's a temporary thing, you know, some kind of interaction.
Right.
But anyway.
Nice. So this next question, it's not just in regards. This isn't in regards to like a partner or anything, but like
Okay.
if you were to describe like 10 years from now, like a version of yourself that's like thriving and like pursuing like the things that that they find fulfilling, like what kind of would 10 years from now, what would that kind of look and be like?
A-frame cabin, private land,
Yep.
middle of the woods, probably on a hill, mountain. Ideally within like 30 minutes of like some sort of civilization, like God forbid, hospital, shit like that. I'm old enough that I have to think about these things. No fucking neighbors.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, just like close enough to civilization that I can go out and get it whenever I won't need to, and then dip the fuck out.
Hell yeah.
Maybe a big dog.
Nice.
I see a big dog there. Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Maybe a
Do
goat.
you see? Hell yeah. We love goats.
Maybe a goat.
If you're gonna talk about goats, this is the right person. I mean, an album called Goats and Trees, so I think that they're wild and fascinating. But do you see that likely taking place like in Maryland, or do you feel like there's other places you want to explore?
Oh, for sure, other places. I used to travel a whole lot, and there's a lot of places I haven't yet been, and a lot of places I don't even know about to want to go yet. I just, yeah, I don't need to have roots here. There's not. It feels bad to say, but there's not much keeping me here. Not to discount the relationships with people that I have, but coming out of like years of isolation from my relationship, and also COVID, and also taking care of family and not myself, kind of realizing there's people everywhere you go. Not that it makes them disposable or expendable in any way, but that they're all special.
Yeah.
And sometimes like the whole you have to give up something to get something. That's kind of like the thing with travel, being somewhere you can't be ever all the time. If there's more.
Okay, so yeah, we definitely. So yeah, I'll just record a quick outro. It's because my battery's dying.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you just want to say like, thanks for listening and bye or
sure.
something.
All right, this is Lo. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.
Okay, yeah, that's the battery died.